It is already time for our final Module 8 Stop and Jot. Don't forget to grab your Module 8 handout. So let's dive into our recap and see if perhaps you had an epiphany or two about how to grow your students' vocabulary through the instructional opportunities you provide. This section began with a discussion of ways to maximize students' opportunities to grow their vocabulary through powerful indirect instruction. The first way discussed was through wide reading, which was defined as reading and listening tasks that utilize a variety of genres, formats, and topics, and this could be accomplished through read-alouds and independent reading. Read-alouds are a great way to add to students' listening vocabulary and should be implemented in all grades, but generally are a key emphasis in the early grades. Independent reading should also be implemented in all grades, but typically is more often noted in the upper primary grades and beyond. Both of these components of wide reading help build students' listening vocabulary, and students are then better able to draw on that knowledge when they encounter the words in other contexts, reading, speaking, and viewing. Other key benefits directly related to vocabulary development of a read-aloud is that it shows students what it means to be a fluent and expressive reader while providing regular exposure to new words, sentences, and patterns of language not used in everyday language, that rich, deep language used by authors. These benefits are also mirrored in independent reading. I also want to reiterate a few other takeaways for you to remember. The first key thing to remember is that it develops a love of reading and provides numerous opportunities to practice word skills. It is also important to remember that students need some choice in the books they read independently, as book choice is a key component of independent reading and builds more in-depth vocabulary knowledge when topic, genre, and format of the reading is self-selected. It is also important to remember that volume of reading matters. Research has shown us that just 15 minutes of reading daily in school, plus 10 minutes outside of school, results in substantially higher rates of vocabulary growth. We also discussed the strategy of wordplay. A classroom that is full of print and oral language opportunities is also a classroom that uses wordplay to draw on students' natural interest in language. Wordplay is all about using words for learning. In other words, engaging students in interacting with and reflecting on words in a fun way. Wordplay also just invites students to immerse themselves in oral language as they experience how words and phrases can feel on the tongue and sound to the ear. We then wrapped up the exploration of indirect instruction by exploring several strategies that engage students in word learning in a fun way. So the outcome of wordplay and incidental learning in general is often students laughing out loud as they experience the joy of learning about words. After discussing ways that students learn about words, incidentally, we moved our exploration of word study to powerful, direct instruction. We began the discussion with the fact that explicit instruction for vocabulary development is best when it follows a basic lesson structure or format and uses strategies that engage students in structured instruction. A powerful reading strategy discussed was the interactive read aloud. The interactive read aloud engages students in conversation during reading. This means that when you are reading aloud to your students, you stop and take a moment to discuss interesting words using child-friendly language. This type of shared book reading experience is seen as particularly powerful because it puts words into meaningful and memorable context that is interesting and motivating to young children. We then explored a plethora of word learning strategies to provide direct support to students in helping them learn to see relationships between words, recognize and remember high-frequency words, and use word parts to infer word meaning. All of these strategies are designed to help students explore relationships between words regardless of the content. These strategies enhance vocabulary instruction in all subjects, not just ELA. As you wrap up this section, excogitate how you could use some of the strategies in your classroom to help promote your students' word learning. This wraps up our final Stop and Jot for Module 8. How can the big ideas we have covered relate to your classroom instruction?